All right, let's go ahead and get this recording started. It is April 19, 2021. Welcome back to Aligning with Success. You can see y'all just starting to join the call. Welcome back, everybody. Stanley, I cut you off for a second. Did you have something you wanted to add? Stanley was just reminding us he's on his iPhone with Zoom, and he's kind of new to the platform and these gadgets, as he points out. And we were just saying how these gadgets, these things are so intelligent these days, so intuitive, that the only way to learn is to fidget with your phone and start pushing buttons and pictures and stuff and see what happens.
No, I had nothing to add, Michael. I'm just looking forward to getting on the call, listening to your wonderful insight and your lectures, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, well,
so,
thank you.
I love it. Thank you. Well, good night. I'm going to say good night because it's almost past my bedtime, you know.
Okay. Well, I hope not to bore everyone today, because what I thought I would do is a little bit of a recap, since there's a few words that have been are being pronounced by corporate, and I wanted to touch on them because they're such foundational things. One being the rhythm of the business. And we've been hearing a little bit more about this concept of onboarding, which is sort of the new terminology for what do you do when you sponsor somebody. And I've always been of the opinion that if you don't know what to do, there's a pretty good chance you're going to avoid doing it altogether. And so some of us have been in the avoidance business, the avoidance of sponsoring people instead of the excitement of sponsoring people. And that may be on a subconscious level. It might not even be conscious. But that comes down to fear, not knowing, what do I do if I sponsor somebody? I think that's probably the biggest reason people don't sponsor people, is they don't know what they're going to do with them. So we're going to touch on that too, because I think having some confidence in the process is the key to going out there and making it happen. I also want to report some exciting news. As of about 30 minutes ago, my daughter, Sophia DiMuccio, registered as a Nikk consultant. So I'm super, super excited for her and for all of us to be able to add her to the Nikk family and bring that intelligence to bear. So enough about that. So let's get into some of these simple ideas. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Let's first of all start with this concept of the rhythm of the business, because as I'm sure you heard, and I'm sure you're going to hear more of, and I'm not sure what you've heard and what you haven't heard, because I'm on so many calls, I can't tell who's on the calls with me, but I know I was on a call recently with Platinums and Above, the Nikk executive call, where we reviewed the last quarter. And for those of you who were on that call with me, I know you'll agree with me. Very exciting information. Let me open this chat up here. So I don't know that we're supposed to reveal what we saw, but maybe we should just give a little bit of a little insight, just your takeaway. Madeline, you were on that call. What's your takeaway from the executive call?
Well, it was pretty exciting. I think it was an evaluation of where we've been in the last 3 years and the first 3 months of this year, and a very good projection into the future, a very confident CEO, an announcement of a COO, and just quite exciting and quite positive for the future. And it is a summary of what's been being taught here. The call is to action. The call is to see more people, sponsor more people, duplicate, increase the number of customers that we can't. It would be pretty difficult to achieve. It's 10 million people, that's individual customers and whatever, and increase the number of wellness home starts if we don't have a distribution network. It can't be done by retailing alone.
Exactly. I think what's really cool, thanks for that, Madeline. Stan, you were on that call, I believe. Did you have a takeaway from the executive call? I know it's past your bedtime, but you're still on the call. In case you want to jump in on that. I can unmute you. Let me try unmuting you. Maybe that's what it is. No, it's not going to work. You have to unmute yourself. Okay, let's carry on. So I'll tell you what my takeaway is. Volume is up, sponsoring is up. So the trajectory is a nice steady trajectory. So it's a trend. It's not just up, it's a trend. So we're trending, and business is trending, and everything that's trending up is good for us in this case. And what that trending is a representation of, this is a golden rule. So write this one down. Trust. Trending is in direct correlation to trust. When trust is up, sponsoring is up, volume is up. So it's a reflection of trust, both the trust that people have in you and the trust that people have in the Nikk-en community and the Nikk-en company. So that's really, really amazing, because trust is something that takes sometimes a very, very long time to build. I know it is with me as a friend, as a person. I don't make a lot of friends very quickly. It takes a long time to be a friend, and because I really value that equation, that trust and respect. So so that's what's a really strong indicator. Trust is something that takes time to build, and we've had Luis Kasuga's presence in Nikk-en for the last 2 years. Stan, you just unmuted. I want to ask you if you had a takeaway from the executive meeting.
Well, yeah. I put myself on my camera, but I don't see myself now. It was a really exciting meeting for me. I was just so excited to see, and I agree with Madeline with everything that was said. It was just the it was just the character of I can't even think of the words right now, but just the honesty, I guess.
Transparency, the honesty.
Yeah. And it just, I just think about the people that aren't on the call. They should have been there, because I'm trying to work the business too. When I get the word try, I always tell my staff there's no try. But it was an exciting call. I kept, I didn't fall asleep during it, which is good. But no, I was excited about it. I just want to be part of it.
Yeah.
And what I'm going through now is just the products are just helping me so much that I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have the side effects that I heard so many people have. And since this call is open, I have to thank Madeline, because Madeline, she's my angel. When I was discovered, diagnosed with this problem, Madeline said to me, "Stan, take the chemo." It was like, it was my angel talking to me. It was like the Holy Spirit talking to me, because I felt, and just like you, Michael, when you sent me that picture, that video of the Chinese people, with the
Greg Braden,
yeah. I mean, that stuff resonated with me so much that I'm healed.
All right.
That's all I could say.
Wonderful.
So, I'm sorry. I didn't make myself. I told you I'm trying to get to bed, and I had to put my nightshirt back on just in case I showed up.
Well, we're happy to have you, Stan, and thanks for your input. Definitely exciting times. And you've been with Nikk-en over 20 years like me, so for you to be excited about the future, that says a lot.
I'll never leave it. Never leave it. Never leave it.
Says a lot, folks. One of my favorite stories ever was a few months into Nikk-en, and I heard Stan Boga's story, and it was just, oh my God, I couldn't believe that I was in a company that was making this possible. So here we are many years later. Anyway, well, some statistics, lots of statistics were shared. One of the things that we heard was March 2021 was the best month in the last 3 years. Wow. So obviously whatever they're doing is working. The incentives, for instance, there was expectations that they had set as a company for goals. Where the waterfall was concerned, they exceeded their expectations a lot. So that's really cool. In fact, another big announcement that was made was that our CEO has ordered enough inventory coming for the next trimester, as he calls it, or for the next quarter, to be able to meet the expected demand that we are creating as we are growing in our numbers, not just our sales, but in our numbers. So, hey, listen, it's always fun to be part of a going concern, and Nikk-En is definitely a going concern. And yet this is still our own, this year is our foundation year. What we're going to see happen in the few years to come is a reflection of what they saw happen as they laid the foundation year in Latin America. And I was there, I was part of that experience as they laid that foundation, and they then set in motion a trend that we're now just super excited to see and witness. So we're next. Hope you got your seatbelts on. Okay, so let's get to this concept of the rhythm of the business, because it's very, very well understood in Latin America. Again, it's part of what it is that we need to develop an understanding for. And let me see if I can figure out how to share my screen. Am I still sharing my screen? No, right? I am? Oh, shoot. So I only opened up the, okay, let me just shrink this then back down. I think that's what I was doing. All right, got it. Okay, so rhythm of the business. I need to shrink my screen a little bit more. There we go. Okay. What you see is a vertical axis. Actually, the graph that we normally look at in the PowerPoints that we use in our presentations is this one, the support system to leverage and compound our efforts by working in collaboration with others. And there's a real team of people that are at work. And if you've not participated in any of the other calls, you should, and learn more about what is available to you that's supporting your business and can support your business. I think the next big call is tomorrow night with Dr. Gary Lindner. Okay, so the rhythm of the business. I want to explain what the vertical axis is in contrast to the horizontal axis. The vertical axis is essentially competence. And the horizontal axis is responsibility. Now, just keep that in mind in the background. Can you imagine having to take on more responsibility, but you have no competence? Okay, so let me give an example. Sponsoring somebody. There's a certain degree of competence that's necessary in order to sponsor somebody. Otherwise, how would they ever hear about Nikk-En and want to become a part of Nikk-En if they didn't learn something about it? So there must have been some competence involved in getting that person knowledgeable enough to enroll. Even the competence to enroll them. What do I do? How do I actually get somebody registered? Do you know what web page to use? Do you know what URL to use? What link to share, etc.? Do you know how to coach or guide them through that if they get stuck? There's competence involved in sponsoring somebody, but there's also a degree of responsibility. Because when you sponsor somebody, you have a responsibility to give them a good start. That's really the main responsibility of being a sponsor, is to give them a good start, a good opening experience as they get their Nikk-En business up and running. Well, clearly, as you develop an organization that's far and wide, your responsibilities where that organization are concerned grows. Now, it's not in proportion to the type of business that you and I normally imagine, like in the corporate world. You know, being the CEO of a corporate responsibility, let's say you've got 50,000 people in your corporation, like I have 50,000 plus people in my network, my degree of responsibility is a fraction of the responsibility that a CEO of a corporation with 50,000 employees has. But there still is a certain degree of responsibility that I have to my organization. And these responsibilities are tied to events. So I may not necessarily be sweeping the floors of the corporation every day if I'm the CEO, but there's a pretty good chance I know how to sweep the floors. And I probably would do as good a job as any if I really put my mind to it. You see what I mean? Doesn't mean I do it. It means I can. And so in Nikk-En, I may not sponsor the way I sponsored when I first got started. It doesn't mean I can't, and it doesn't mean I don't know how. I'm as good as anybody. But the responsibility I have now is more to the organization on an organizational level. So I have responsibility to my organization. So I put on events like this one here as an example. So the vertical axis represents the competencies that we develop and are encouraged to develop so that we have a growing and sustainable business. The responsibilities are tied to the events that we participate in and that we co-sponsor or host. So most of you are not necessarily hosting an event, but at some point in time, if you're going to really be a leader in Nikk-En and you're going to really have an organization, you will be hosting events. You'll be hosting your own events for your team. And your team will identify with you as a leader. Not just, oh, are you on Mike's call? That might not even mean anything to your team at some point, because you'll be the one that they're leaning on in terms of your call. So the responsibility and the competencies go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other, and you would not be very effective to have just one. They go hand in hand. So the rhythm of the business is by design put in place in order to help people grow into those roles and responsibilities. So, and to be inspired to grow into those roles and responsibilities. So let me just recap what they are as a simple example. On the left-hand side, we have daily contact and invite. So who is responsible for contacting, inviting people into Nikk-En's process, into the process of learning about Nikk-En? Who's responsible for that? Everyone. Everyone's responsible for that. We're all charged with the responsibility to involve new people into Nikk-En as customers and or consultants. So that's a responsibility we all share, and it's something we should practice on a daily basis, especially if you want to grow your business. It's like, I mean, imagine, we talked about this, you know, when we had our other guest a couple of weeks ago, Richard Brook, we talked about what happens if you compound the penny every other day. There's a huge difference in what you compound if you compound every other day versus if you compound every day. So daily contact and invite is a staple of the business, and everyone is responsible for daily contacts and invites. Now, there's a competency to actually contacting and inviting somebody, and I'll touch on that on my next slide in the other PowerPoint. So there's learning the most important competency of all, contacting and inviting, because it's the one that drives every other one. All the other roles and responsibilities, all the other competencies are only necessary if we have a business that's a growing concern. And that's only possible if we have new people joining as customers and consultants. And that's obviously tied to our vision as well. So that all happens if we feed the fire, and that is if we enroll new customers and new consultants, and that begins with contacting and inviting. So that's a core competence. Now, another term that's been thrown around is core consultant. We're going to do another newsletter and remind y'all what is a core consultant, because that's not what we're calling our group chat now. It's what we're calling our newsletter. So we need to know, what is a core consultant? What does it mean to be a core consultant? It means that that consultant is doing the core roles and responsibilities of a person who has ownership of a business in Nikk-En. They're doing the fundamentals. So contact and inviting is one of those fundamentals. What's another fundamental? Well, an ABC call. That's a weekly event, at least. So if you are engaging somebody in the process of introducing them to Nikk-En, at some point, you're going to introduce them to other people. That's part of the process. We call that an ABC. So what other people are you going to introduce them to? Obviously, other active members. So one of the roles and responsibilities of an active member is being an A in an ABC call. And there's a certain protocol that we follow. There's a certain, way of doing it. And so there, you could say there's a competence involved in being a good A. And that means there's also a competence in being a good B. if you're in an ABC call, the role of the B after making the introduction is to be quiet. That's a competence that's hard to come by sometimes, but just the same, it is a competence. So we learn how to do ABC calls, and we do them every week because we've got to turn that prospect into a product. That prospect is either going to be a customer, or that prospect is going to be a consultant, or that prospect is going to refer you to somebody. But at the end of this process, they're going to complete the cycle because you've completed the process. And part of that process is the ABC call. So that's a competence. What other competencies are there? Well, there's weekly meetings. If this prospect of yours is going to want to know more about Nikk-en, then where are they going to find out about Nikk-en? They're going to come to a meeting. We used to have meetings in hotel rooms. Now we have them in Zoom rooms. So inviting them to a Zoom meeting means you need to know a little bit about Zoom. That's a competence that, a year ago you didn't really have to have, but now, yeah, you have to have it. And then there's got to be somebody who's putting on that meeting. So they've learned how to actually put on a meeting in Zoom. That's a competence. So these roles and responsibilities are shared, and we acquire them as we grow our business and as we grow our teams. And so the rhythm of the business acknowledges those roles and responsibilities as they relate to businesses that are at various stages of development, whether you're a new direct, an executive, a silver, a gold, a diamond, or a royal diamond. Those stages of development, those stages of competencies have associated with them certain roles and responsibilities so that the business works. And so the rhythm of the business is something that is an organic way to grow people into great CEOs and grow businesses into great viable businesses. That's why the vertical axis is you Inc. It's the business, not you. And you CEO, that's the person becoming the chief executive officer of that business. Now, this reminds me of a statement, another, I think, addition to the newsletter come up, and that is that you are not your business. So if you don't already have a name for your Nikk-en business, don't end tonight without giving it a name, or at least spend the next 24 hours coming up with a name for your Nikk-en business. You are not your business. You may be the account holder. You may be the CEO who has the keys of the business, but you're not your business. Your business is something independent of you. It consists of the multitude of people that are going to join your organization. It consists of the logistics that Nikk-en provides for you to have a business. It consists of your bank accounts and so forth, the mechanics and the functionality. It's not you, the human being. And so one of the first things we need to learn is to disassociate ourselves from our business. You are not your business. Why is that so critical? Well, how can you be a good CEO and make good decisions if you're confused about the need that your business has versus the need that you have as a person? Would you agree that sometimes your business needs are going to take precedence over your personal needs? Would you agree that's a possibility? Yeah. Well, if you are your business, what does that mean? It means your personal needs are going to take precedence and your business is not going to exist. So having an identity for your business, separating yourself from your business, allows you to have a different perspective. You're able to have objective thinking. You're able to plan and organize on behalf of your business goals and expectations. And then you as the CEO can manage those expectations, develop what needs to be developed. But seeing those roles and responsibilities is very different. It's super, super important. Here's another reason. Can you see yourself personally as a royal diamond? Maybe, maybe not. But can you see building a royal diamond business? Well, yeah, you can see it. It's written in the compensation plan what needs to happen. It's a series of numbers on on a schedule. It's a number of people representing that volume. That's a thing. That's not you. It has its own identity. It's not you. You have your own identity. But now if you can separate the two, you can see, oh, maybe I haven't done such a thing because that's not something I've done before, but it's not that I can't. That business can be built. It's been built by others. I can learn how to build what's been built by others. I can even get support from people who've done it. It's something you can build rather than something you must be. This is super, 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 super important because we act in accordance to our identity. So if you can identify yourself as a great CEO, you can build yourself a huge Nikk-en business, a huge Royal Diamond business. There's big businesses and small businesses at all ranks. You want a small Nikk-en diamond business or a big Nikk-en diamond business? You can decide that. It's something you're creating, and then you can attract. Then you can attract the skills. Then you can attract the people who have the skills that can help you build it. Because it's not about you. It's about what you're building. Super, super important. Super important. If we stop there, that's the biggest information I could leave you with tonight is don't identify your business with yourself. Okay, so this graph, this rhythm of the business has many layers of context to it that help us really get a clear path for building a business, for identification of what we need to learn how to be good at. What are the daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, annual activities that I should be plugged into? Well, got a calendar?
Hi, Dan. Vậy hả?
Hello.
Yeah.
Why?
Chị không biết.
I'm not sure where that sound is coming from, but
get out liền, chị không click.
Well,
hello, hello.
no, they said don't click on it.
There we go. So, being on a call has certain responsibilities. When you join a Zoom call, make sure your mute is on. All right, let's carry on. So that's enough about roles. Anybody have any questions about this? I think this is such an important subject that if you've got questions now, like jump in, bring it up, bring it up.
I just add a comment, Mike. One of the things was if you're CEO of your own business is measuring your own metrics and knowing where you are and setting your weekly and monthly goals and your quarterly goals as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, that's a competence, right? So setting goals becomes the responsibility of who? The CEO of the company. You're the CEO of the company, your company. Give it a name. Again, give your company a name. My company is called Good Vibrations International. I've had that name since I can remember. That's the first thing I did is I went downtown and registered a name of a company. And actually the name of the company was written on a t-shirt. My sister gave me a t-shirt from the Dominican or wherever it was she went. And it said, we be shaking good vibrations. So I looked at that and I thought, I was just putting on that t-shirt to go downtown. I thought, you know what, that actually make a good name, Good Vibrations International. So I went down, registered for sure. That's my company name. So come up with a name that you feel is a good identity for your company. What does your company represent? Looks good on a business card too. The corporation's name or the company's name. It doesn't have to be a corporation. You don't have to register it. It can just be the name of a company doing business as, and then CEO, who you are. So this is such an important role. And the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because our CEO is trying to make a point to all of us, again, reminding us that Nikk-en's inception, how Nikk-en ever came to be, is because the founder of Nikk-en had a need, which was financial. And so Nikk-en was inspired as a means to an end to create an income stream for a man who had needs. And yes, the business of Nikk-en is the 5 pillars of wellness. The business of Nikk-en is sharing health and well-being and prosperity and so forth. That's the business of Nikk-en. But what's inspired the business of Nikk-en was an entrepreneur's need to succeed, and a job wasn't going to do what he needed. So he needed to come up with an alternative, and that was being the owner of a business. So all of us are the offshoot of that. We're all owners of a Nikk business. And as such, we actually need to learn how to be that, how to become a good owner of a business, because it's not something you're taught. It's not something most people go to school for. In fact, the only time you ever get to learn about that is either you adopt a business, own a business, start a business, or go get an MBA in university. But most people don't come to Nikk through that path. They're usually somebody who has a job as an employee, who's been an employee all their life, and now, or maybe just starting for the first time to be self-employed or have an income stream of their own to their name. So this is part of the education that's necessary in the early stages, is first and foremost, help people identify that they are not their business. Let's come up with a name for your business. And that way we can grow that business and have value in that business that we can either give to a child who will inherit it, or pass on, or whatever, even sell. You know, you're not going to sell you, you're going to sell a company. So again, such a fundamental thing that we rarely ever address. So I'm making a point of underscoring this point because I think it's fundamental to how we go forward in our Nikk experience. Let me share with you another one. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have another comment. I ordered some life and balance tools, and one of them was this one.
Yeah.
And I was thinking in my Latino market because of what it said on the back, but the term he used was Masuda's entrepreneurial spirit. So the bullets on here are about if you possess an entrepreneurial mind, a dream, leadership ability, and a willingness to be mentored. So I think that's a pretty good one to use. And of course, it shows the international expansion so that you're thinking big about the seamless global expansion.
Can you hold that up? I'm gonna expand the view, speaker's view. Okay, go ahead and hold that up and say something about it.
Well, I can't read it because you can see it there. So what I said is, this is a good tool that you have on Life and Balance Tools. So that's on one side. And on the other side, it shows pictures of what the outcomes are for that entrepreneurial spirit, having the freedom to travel and the time to travel. And here what it says on the back is, we'd like to speak with you about your potential. We are seeking to expand in Latino markets, discover our system to a better way. So we have the Better Way presentation on Thursday, and a more balanced life. So it shows pictures of so it's very simple. It's pictures of the outcomes of having an entrepreneurial spirit. It has the bullets of the competencies in the vertical. And so owning your own company, you know, people say, well, owning a business, and we're talking about that. What I really came away with is that, let me see, this little simple duplicatable 5 customers and 3 people, so that you don't have to have 50,000 people to be responsible for, but it's that duplication of the smaller, simple model. And those are I like the idea of the entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely.
And this was pretty nice. So I bought a bunch of them because I was going to use it.
Well, thanks for bringing that up, because I think it's a great tool. I had a hand in making that tool. So I think it's a great tool for prospecting, which is what it was designed for.
And actually at the bottom, it says it's time to start your own online business. So what's coming, but the fact that the other software flunked was much better, because it sounds like we're going to have more money poured into a much better product with a little phone that has everything in the palm of your hand, including editing your own videos that you make so they're FTC compliant. And as soon as you show your video, there's a link that goes right to being able to order to your own PWP and not somebody else's. And so that's a pretty good deal. You might want to expand it, Mike, from just because it's saying for Latino markets, but it's like everywhere. It's the global.
It could be, yeah. It was there for the Latino market for sure. That's what was the goal behind that. But you brought up this expansion.
That's what I was looking for. That one on the other side. So
yeah, you see the beautiful thing about this. By the way, I want to point out on the bottom right hand side, this says, based on 100 CV per month per wellness home.
And not PV, it says CV.
CV.
Yes.
CV, commissionable volume, because in order for this calculation to be made, you have to simplify it 6% of the CV. So we took the CV. But if you consider what is 100 CV per month, it's about $200 at retail, about $200 thereabouts. It's actually a little bit less than that. And based on the statistics that we were given this week or this past week from our executive meeting, it looks like we're on par. So this is not a fabrication. This is not a hyperbole. This is a realistic projection of what you can expect long-term for a business. So if the goal here is to create $500 a month, a $1,500 a month, a $4,500 a month, a $13,000 a month, a $40,000 a month income, this is a plan. And this plan is based on, Linda's got a hand. Give me 1 second, Linda. This plan is based on that first chart in the center that you were pointing to, Madeline, which is that we call the core circle of influence. Okay. Again, we're getting that word core in the middle of it.
There, I have it on the other side.
There you go. Yeah. So this core, when duplicated, it's like we're going to make a pizza pie, and then we're going to teach other people how to make the pizza pie. And as long as we do that, there's a consistency in that expectation, and we can create a consistent business with reasonable expectations. But now this says, but then I better learn how to do two things: make the pizza pie and teach other people how to make the pizza pie. And the better I get at making the pizza pie and teaching other people how to make the pizza pie, the more likely I'm going to experience this effect. So now it becomes really important to learn how to make the pizza pie. Let me just advance here. How do we make the pizza pie? And then we just teach others to do it. Where does it begin? Now, I know this looks like, this is old school. We paper tools, but you know what? They still work because they help people focus their attention. Now, many of you have all your contacts on your phone. So do you really need this? Probably not, but it's nice to have to focus your attention and maybe use it as your top 10 list or your top 100 list. Transfer those names to here.
Until that phone app comes out, Mike, it sounds like the phone app's going to have the contact list right on there.
Yeah, well, that's the goal is that what we're seeing here is transferable electronically. But in the meantime, might as well get the mind and the action to do this. And the flip side of this is the strategy that we apply. So let me just go through this. How do we start? Remember the first core competence that I talked about. Linda, you have your hand up, so let's get to your question. Linda Morse, you have your.
I am. Thank you, Mike. This is going to be real brief. I know your time is up. I just have a quick comment and a question. My first comment is I want to greatly thank you, and I deeply appreciate you for dealing with this topic about the business, and we're a separate entity from the business. So I thank you for that, because it is rarely talked about. It's something I'd like to hear someone of your stature who's accomplished so much to address. And my question is, on a future call, could you spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes and discuss the pros and cons of LLC versus a corporation, and how all that works, and what that means to us as we're building our business?
I can give you some feedback on that. I'm not an accountant, so different state laws have different things, but I can certainly do that. There's essentially the advantage, there's two advantages, main advantages of having a corporation, a shell, whether it's an LLC or a corporation, is that it creates some level of indemnity from any liability. And more importantly, it gives you a way of being able to manage the cash flow. You can decide how much to pay yourself. There's state laws and so forth that have different taxations for a corporation than it does for a person. So in some cases, if it's in Nevada, you want to have an LLC because the state laws are tax favored for an LLC versus a corporation. So it's those types of things. But there's a point at which having a corporation makes sense, and it's not at the very beginning. Usually, like in Canada, they changed the tax laws where now it's not even worth having a corporation unless you're making more than, I don't know, $400,000 or something like that. Maybe not quite that much, but gross sales or stuff like that. So there's different, you have to ask your accountant, when is it time? But I went ahead early on because guess what, how I think with the end in mind. I completely expected to make a lot of money. So I wanted to have the identity, and I wanted to have that identity secured. So I had it registered. That was the main reason. Maybe it's like $1,000 or $1,500 to get a corporation. I'm not sure. Maybe you can even do it online for less. I think people can do now online for just a few $100, just the paperwork. So is it worth doing? Yes. And it just creates an entity around which, you know, you have now, it's a thing. It's an asset, and you're going to grow that asset, and you're going to see it as a thing. You're going to see it as something you're growing, like a plant, separate and apart from you. You'll treat it differently. You'll make different decisions that are more responsible and more reflective of it being something that's deserving of the right attention and decision making. So I just think it's everything in your favor, nothing against, when you give your company an identity. So let's get this company started. And it starts with the people we know. And so one of the competencies that I teach early on is how to contact and invite people. I have an audio, it's a little bit old, but it's still effective, called Contact and Invite. You can find it on YouTube. It's still a very effective approach. The point is, if somebody doesn't learn how to make contact, they're not going to make contact. And if they don't approach it in the way we've learned best, ideally, and they fumble it a number of times, they may fumble themselves right out of business, because they will lose their confidence. They will lose the edge that they have, the enthusiasm that they have. So this is such an important first training, is to train your new person how to make that first call, that contact and invite. So take the time. If you don't even know, if you're not 100% confident, then start with that contact and invite YouTube. Listen to it. Take notes. Figure out what you're doing differently and start applying what I'm doing. You'll probably find that you'll get the kind of results that I get and most others who follow this path. It's a direct approach. And I find that the direct approach is the best approach when it comes to people you know, especially people who know you. So this is where it begins, with this core circle of influence concept. We're not talking about, multitudes of people. We're talking about a core nucleus of people. Now, what's it going to take to arrive at 5 loyal customers? What's it going to take to arrive at 3 business partners who take this business as seriously as you? It's not going to be the first 3. No way, Jose. I don't care who you are. But it's going to take a number. What's your number? I don't know. I can't say for sure what's your number. I know that in my first 60 days, I was able to create the core people that would take my business to platinum, but not Royal Diamond. I needed to relaunch my business, find a whole new grouping of people to establish another solid leg and another few solid legs to move my business from platinum to diamond. But that wasn't enough to go Royal Diamond, not under the plan that we were operating at the time. So I had to do a 4th launch. I did 4 launches. The 4th launch got me to Royal Diamond. And each time I launched, I got really much better at identifying who that core partner is going to be. So I didn't need to sponsor as many people. I got better and better and better at it. So you're going to find that that's going to be true as well. Not only that, but I got better and better and better at launching them, because I got more familiar with the business. I learned what worked, what didn't, and I was able to apply it the next time around. So every time you sponsor somebody new, it's a new opportunity for you to be a better sponsor. So don't give up on it. Just keep getting better at it and become known as somebody who's really capable of sponsoring. You'll get better at it because you keep getting better at it for trying. and you'll learn from other people as you plug into these calls and these trainings. I'm not sure if there's another question. I see a, okay, no. All righty, so next. This is the, oh, there is. Thu Ha?
I wonder if it's necessary to have a website for the company that we build, because I have looked at different websites, and really I like the website made by the Wellness Home 24, which is European. I wonder if I can duplicate that to make my website.
Well, I mean, to
Is
have
that
a corporate,
necessary?
no, it's not. I don't have a corporate website, and I have a very large Nikk and Royal Diamond business. So is it necessary? No. Is it nice to have? Depends on what you'd want to do with it. My profiles are my social media profiles. If you went to michaeldimuccio.com, you would land on my Nikk and homepage, and that's going to get an upgrade. So I'm happy about that. That's not to say that it's not a good idea. I know some people who are very successful using Instagram. So they have their Instagram profile and they use a thing called Linktree. I just put one together. I just discovered what is Linktree. Cool. Here's what Linktree is. It's another platform that allows you to create one single page. It's myname.linktree.com. And if you go there, it'll say my Nikk and life, my personal life, or whatever. You create the links and you give the links labels. So you can just say to everybody anywhere, anytime, hey, just check out my Linktree. Hey, just go to my Linktree. So it's the same thing as go to my business card that has all of my access points. You want to access my LinkedIn account, my Facebook account, my Instagram account, my Nikk account, they're all there. They're all there. So it's this really nice little contraption that somebody just designed that I think does a lot for our business and keeps your profile very, very slim.
Michael,
and
is it
fit.
linked with an ED on the end? Linked?
No,
tree?
Linktree. Linktree. So that's a really excellent solution. Yeah, that's about it. I think they might be advertising. I don't know what they're doing, but I don't think you need to spend a lot of time up front developing a website. No. Use social media because that's really more in keeping with the current times. Websites require time, energy. You got to constantly update them and so forth. Your live interactive social media account has much more purpose and passion, and you can direct it in real time. So I think that's more effective. So let's get back to this. So contact and inviting, my strategy is really three things. In my contact and invite, I always state why I'm calling them, my motive for calling them, and it has to do with how I feel about them as a human being, what I like about them as a person. So if you can't write two nice things about somebody, they should not be on your list for a partner. But if you can write two nice things about somebody, they're honest, I trust them, they inspire me, they're a nice person, they got a great personality, those are the types of things that I'm looking for in why would I call somebody. Their motive would be something to do with the 5 pillars of health. What about them do I know about them that might be of interest, where there might be an opening for them to explore Nikk? If I know something about them, I know about their health, or I know about their financial situation, whatever, I may know them that way. If I don't, I need to learn that. I need to ask them some questions about that. And then lastly is the offer. What is it that I want them to do? And the answer is really simple. I want them to explore this in the possibility that they can partner with me and that we can create something magnificent together and achieve certain objectives, namely the motives that we've identified. That's the offer. It's to explore. So I don't sell the business. I don't sell the products. I sell the process. Let me repeat that. I don't sell the business. I don't sell the products. I sell the process. The process will do the selling. If they have a why, and we've talked about it, their personal vision, their business vision, if they have such a thing, I can show them a vehicle that can transform their life and help them fill those gaps. It includes products, it includes a business and a system. And then lastly, I can show them that this is a business that they can do because we have a strategy, we have the process that we've just discussed, and we have tools that make it possible to do this business online remotely from anywhere in the world. In between the big rocks in their life, the things that they're already engaged in, a business that they can fit in the cracks because they can leverage the system. They can leverage the tools, they can leverage the strategy, and they can leverage the team. That's my job, is to take them through this process, answer any of their questions, and then expose them to more people. So this is essentially what I'm showing you right now is what I would be showing somebody if they were a prospect in the process with me right now and they were in that last conversation. These 3 circles are 3 conversations. They could happen in 1 week, they could happen in 1 day, they can happen in 1 hour. Madeline?
Yeah, what I want to say is I just ordered them and they didn't come looking with that like that one, Michael. They came from
yeah,
like
this is just, oh, well, that's the next slide.
Okay, that's that one. Okay, that one didn't come.
So to reiterate, to show you this in a way that is more like a flow, a funnel, let me just show you really quickly. So we put contacts in on the bottom left-hand side, contacts go in and partners come out. Now, I know you know that not as many contacts that go in come out as partners. Some fall off. So how does this actually play out? Well, let's first of all define what a partner is. A partner is somebody who's willing to put their money where their mouth is. They're going to put some time. They're going to put some products in their home, and they're going to make contacts with their contact list. If they're not willing to invest their time, their money, and their contacts, then they're not going to do this business. That's fine. But for me to get them to do that, to even consider doing that, what do they need to know? They need to know that it's worth their time. They need to know that they can make the money that they want to make. And they need to know that the contacts that they reach out will not diminish their reputation. But in fact, it might even enhance their reputation among their contacts if they present Nikk in a professional way. That's what has to happen. So now my job is to take them through a process that by the end of that process, they feel it's worth their time, it's worth their money, and it's worth their reputation. Let me repeat that. I need to take them through an information process that by the end of which they're going to see it's worth their time, it's worth their money, and it's worth their reputation. So now, with that in mind, you tell me how would these conversations need to be put together? Well, they need to be honest. They need to be open. They need to be transparent. All the things that Stanley talked about that he appreciates so much about the last executive call. So be honest and straightforward with people. Don't be salesmen. Just tell them what you love about this. Let them see the sparkle in your eyes. Let them see if there's something in it for them. You're going to take a contact and turn them into an interested contact if you get interested in them. How do you get interested in somebody? Ask them questions. Ask them to tell you their hopes and dreams. Ask them to tell you what's holding them back. If you can have that kind of a conversation with somebody, you're having a real conversation. That's a real conversation. It may not be easy to get to that, but if there's somebody you know and you approach it right, there's no reason why you can't have that conversation first off, because it's honest and people need that now more than ever. So your interested contact is now going to want to know, okay, so Mike, you say you have a solution for my issues. my mind and body issue, or my body and financial issue, or my time and money issue. You say you've got an answer. Tell me about this solution. Oh, see, I haven't told them about that yet. I just told them that I think I might have it. And it might not be for them. But first we have to identify what would they need it to be in order for them to take the time to investigate it. So we find out what's important to them. Now they're interested. So then what? Well, we show them how Nikk could fit the bill. We show them the opportunity, we show them the products, and we show them the system. If you're not showing people the system, why do you think everybody's freaking out over Leo's system? Congratulations, Leo, you got people's attention. Everybody's freaking out over Leo's system because he's got a system. And a system is better than no system. And it turns out that his system is working for him quite nicely. So show them Nikk, show them the products, but show them how this can fit into their busy life because you have a system that can work for them. And yeah, Madeline, you're right. When we can show them that everything can be done with that little baby phone, anywhere they are in the world, they're going to say, that's an interesting system you have. And that's going to help them see that they can be a customer or consultant. It's a $19.99 question, or is it? I think a consultant is somebody who wants to make money. A customer is somebody who wants to have better health. They're not the same necessarily. But if they are a consultant, they should want better health. So their investment is going to be in products for themselves, first and foremost. So then the last piece is, how do I take that customer or consultant and turn them into a partner? What do they need to know to go from somebody who wants to be involved with Nikk to somebody who wants to be involved with me in building their own company? Let me repeat that. How do I change them or advance them in their thinking from wanting to be a part of something to join Nikk, like the caboose on a train, to being the person driving the engine of the train? How do we make that mental shift? Well, the answer is they need to know what it takes to go from being a caboose attached to the train to being the engineer conducting the train. So you got to show them. Show them what it takes. And I'm showing you right now, everything I'm doing right now is showing you what I would show them. This is what I show them. What you're seeing is what I actually show them. So I show them, here's what it takes, what you're seeing right now. We take people from our contact list through a process and we find out who wants to play. That's our business. Now, we also invite them to events. There's a huge event coming up this weekend. Do not miss this event. Better yet, have 10 people there with you. Even if you have to say, drop what you're doing, don't ask any questions, just join me on this link. You'll understand once you see what's going on. We're going to have an amazing product launch. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this product for so long. So we're going to have something that you're going to want, trust me. So this big event, part of the rhythm of the business is that last stage that helps somebody go from thinking about the possibility to identifying with it. Let me repeat that. They go from thinking about the possibility of joining a business to identifying with somebody who can actually succeed at it. And they get that experience at an event. And I don't know what is going to be said or who is going to say it that's going to do it, but it happens every time. I just know that. So I know that part of my process for enrolling people to be partners is to get them to an event, because somebody is going to say something or a combination of things is going to happen that I don't know what's going to be. It's different for everybody, but it's going to be something where that person is going to be able to say, I can see this for myself. And when that happens, they go from being on the outside looking in to being on the inside looking up. That's a partner. Now I have somebody to work with. What do I do with that person? I teach them what I just did. Now, how many people do I need to take through this process in order to arrive at 3 partners? That's a strategy. So what I've just shown you is a process. But a process is not a strategy. It's just a process to find a partner. But if I need 3 partners this month, what's the strategy? I need to take a certain number of people through this process. So here's my launch strategy. Folks, we have a list. Let's see how fast we can get through this list. If we can get through this list in 1 month's time, we're going to find our 3 partners. That means 81 people from our list will arrive at 1/3 of them being interested, 1/3 of them wanting to have another conversation. That'll arrive to 9 people who are really seriously thinking about joining. That'll arrive to 3 people who join as partners. So what is it going to take to get this done in 30 days? 4 to 5 calls a day. Oh, we're back to that daily rhythm. See how it works? This is called the rhythm of the business. If I'm making 4 to 5 calls a day, then every day I'm going to find 1 to 2 people who want to talk to me. And those 1 to 2 people who want to talk to me every day means somewhere between 10 and 15 people every week. And out of that, 1/3 of them are going to be customers or consultants. And out of that, 1/3 of them are going to join. And by the end of the month, I'm going to invite them all to the party, which is the big event. And we're going to find out who's popcorn, who pops, who wants to really go. And then I find my partners. And from there, I teach them to do the same. We just simply duplicate what we just did. We bake the cake, now we duplicate it. That's it. If you learn how to do this well and well enough and keep duplicating it, you're going to build a business that's predictable. I got so good at this process that I was able to help people launch into, are you ready? A platinum ship in 30 days. So this process can be done in 30 days. It can be done in 3 weeks. It can be done in 15 days. It can be done in 1 week. Depends on who you're working with and how committed you are to making it happen. But it's the same process. The formula is exactly the same. The only thing we change is the rhythm. How many calls per day, how many people per week, how many people per month. That's it. That's the only thing that changes. The process is the process. The strategy is the only thing that we change. Now, if we go back to this idea and we do calls every other day, well, then we're not going to have the same result. And if we eliminate steps in this process, well, we're not going to have the same result. So I found a formula that works and I just apply it. And I'll bet you, I already know, because I know the answer to this question. If you look at Leo's system, you will see that Leo's emails inform the person in this manner. You will find that his big event takes place every week. He invites them to a call where they're able to hear stories. And somehow, some way, somebody relates to a story and they get excited and they say, I would like to do this. And he says, great, here's the emails. You have your contacts. Now let's get those emails going. And he duplicates this. And it's the same thing. He's just using emails to do it, to deliver the packets of information. I still use conversations and presentations. I'm still a little bit more old school than Leo. But the process is the process. And all that changes is the rhythm. So learn the process, apply the rhythm, and you're going to get results. And we are out of time.
Mike, can I say one last thing? This was excellent, by the way. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This reminds me when I first joined Nikk back in 2006, I heard our dearly beloved Ruth Williams say this: we find them and wind them and see who runs. Remember that one?
Yes. Exactly.
That's what we're doing.
Exactly.
Thanks, Mike.
My pleasure. Again, just think of it like baking a cake. You know, you got a recipe. Use the recipe. If you start messing with the recipe, you're going to change the results. But try this one first and get good at it. And you'll find that this what I just shared with you is just principles. These are principles. 3 conversations: why, how, what. How hard is that? What's the why? What's the how? What's the what? And whether you're delivering it with an email or you're delivering it with a conversation, Just remember why, how, what, in that order. And then expose them to an event where they meet nice people who are in Nikk-en, and they're going to realize, you know what, it's safe. I can put my reputation on the line with these people. They're not kooks. That's the importance of getting them on a call with other Nikk-en people. It's that they feel comfortable putting their reputation on the line. Well then, with that, I think we're going to wrap because it's just past 10. Appreciate you all being on this long with me. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Have a great weekend with Saturday's event. We'll see you there.